بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So inshallah we'll begin our Seerat-e-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam's discourse today. Previous session we discussed the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam's building of the Kaaba and Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam getting married to Khadija radiallahu anh. And also we discussed how Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam, just before they receive prophethood, certain things, are they do, or certain things happen from the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a sign that there's something great is about to happen to them. And so that the people could see some things that is unusual and unordinary in them, so that they could realize when the actual prophethood comes, they're able to see them, that yes, this person did do this, which is not of regular nature. Hence, these things did also happen to Prophet ﷺ, and personally to Prophet ﷺ also, that he was given ilham, ilqa on his qalb, dreams, good dreams also come. So that Anbiya are ready, that the task ahead of them lies is of great one. So now, Prophet ﷺ is formally given the nabuwat, and as usual, Prophet ﷺ would do itikaf, or would seclude himself from the world, and he would basically remember Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in whatever ways he knew in terms of his forefathers, because obviously no ahkamat are there in terms of salah or anything like that, but whatever he knew in terms of Ibrahimic religion and the upright religion and the tawheed, he would do that. And at the time he was of 40 years of age. He all of a sudden realized that this time it's something different. He sees someone other than himself in the Mount Hira. And this time it's Angel Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam who comes in. And he says, Iqra. And Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, Ma ana biqari. The second time, Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam grabs Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and shakes him and says, Iqra. Prophet ﷺ second time also replied, Ma'ana biqari. The third time, the angel Jibreel ﷺ embraces Prophet ﷺ so tight. The Prophet ﷺ says, as if I felt that my life, I'm gonna pass away, and my life is gonna come to an end. And he said, Iqra, and Prophet ﷺ said, Ma'ana biqari. Now, Muslim Rahmatullah brings a really great point as to, by being him calling himself Ma'ana biqari, or basically saying that I'm an ummi, that I am not someone who's literate in that sense, while Jibreel ﷺ is telling him to say, read, Iqra, right? Or the word Iqra is being recited in front of him. Now, one needs to understand that this is not what it means in this context here. When Jibreel ﷺ said, Iqra, he was basically verbally saying it to him. This is more, the Muslim Rahmatullah brings a point that this is more of a sense that he was given something and the words were written on it, and he said to him, read from this. Because one wants to understand this, because this is not manafi. Anybody who is not formally educated, right? Even people in the village who never go to any school for that matter, but they speak the language, right? Whatever language they may be speaking, English, Urdu, Arabi, whatever, Punjabi, whatever, they have that skill of, they just know how to speak it because their parents have been doing it, their parents have been doing it, so they just know how to speak it. They just know how to read, they just don't know how to read it, right? So obviously, in case of Prophet ﷺ, he was an Arab. If he was saying Iqra, right, wouldn't he be able to say Iqra? Of course he can. So he was not an ummi in that sense, right? He did not have formal education. And again, there are many points behind it as well. Why and why not? We're going to come to that as we move along. But Muslim is saying that, no, he was basically given a sahifa, like a tablet of some sort, and over there the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were written, and he could not recognize those words because he was never got the formal education. This is what it means when he means ummi here. Because, and I know this was my first-hand experience by my own son. I basically, sometimes, teach him Surah Al-Fatiha or du'as, and I would recite and he'll recite with me, right? Even though it'll be broken words, but he'll recite something. When the 5-year-old child is able to do that, don't you think Prophet who's at the age of 40, who is Fasih and Baligh in Arabic language, will not be able to recite when Jibreel says Iqra? Of course he can. So that is what it means over here, that he was given some sort of a tablet where the words were written, and he said, Ma'ana biqari, I cannot read, meaning that I cannot see and I cannot recognize the words in terms of letters and read this. That's what it basically means. And then Muslim brings as well a point on the side that this also refers, this is why some of the mufassirin of that opinion that, when he said, Ma'ana biqari, because there was a sahifa, because Allah Ta'ala says, Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fi. That book, that we gave to you, there's no doubt in it, right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes reference to the Quran itself. Obviously, you can look at it, this is the whole tafsir issue of what does it mean by kitab. You can look at Bayzawi, you look at many tafsir Ibn Kasir, whatever. You can look at it. But this is not our wazifa, but I'm just saying that some of the ulama of that opinion, and this is what Muslim is also referring to, that word kitab is referring to that particular part of the book as well, that the sahifa that was given to Prophet ﷺ, and he was told to read the first revelation that was given to him. And then, once the third time was finished, Prophet ﷺ says that, then Jibreel ﷺ said, Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq, خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. And he leaves. And that's obviously, this is a very traumatizing experience for a Nabi at the time. One needs to understand this is not an ordinary thing. This is something that is happening to him. One could ask a question as to why Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, felt when he knows the Prophet is going to come to him. When he knows he has heard from many rahibs in the past that he is that Prophet or he has those signs. One needs to understand, as a person, as a human being, there are certain things, even though we know that exists, we may have fears for them, right? And I'll explain that point in a bit. So this is not because Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was in some sort of a taraddud. He had shak that, this is not from Allah Ta'ala. Indeed, this is something else. No. It's a human nature to, if we were told, if we know that, there are many things that exist in the world, lions and tigers, and, we know them. We even see them in the zoos and whatever, or the those big reptiles and snakes, pythons and alligators. But if we were to come across them, right? If I was to see personally an anaconda or a python snake, or those large snakes, those who strangle a human being and can basically devour them. If I was to see that thing in real, I think I'll be terrified as well, right? Even though I know that they exist, I know that there's something, it's part of nature and life. However, me just having the first encounter, all of a sudden, it's something that's going to make me put fear in me, right? But if you were to ask a snake hunter who does this on a regular basis, and we know that people in the West, especially in the Texas area and whatever, they hunt snakes like this. They have no fear, as if it's like a regular job. So this is Anbiya, some condition was that Nabi was not in any kind of taraddud and shock that, this is something else, it's a shaitan. No. He knew what Jibreel Amin. But he was petrified. This is the first time he's encountering. And that's why, as more and more often when Nabi Wahi comes, and there is a riwayat in Bukhari Sharif and many in Hadith Kitab, the Prophet ﷺ used to say to Jibreel Amin, when you don't come, I don't feel happy. I feel like, there's something missing. Whenever you come, I know that there's good glad tidings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or some sort of news of something. Right? So he used to get happy when Jibreel used to come. Alayhi salatu wasalam. So this tells us that this is not because he was in some sort of doubt, I'm not that person. No, this is wrong. That's not it. Okay? So one needs to understand that as well. Obviously, in that condition, in that state, obviously something that he unusual experience, he comes to who? Khadija radiyallahu anha. Now this is again a great lesson for us, especially our women folk sitting at home listening, that a wife, always shows support to the husband despite of what he is going through. He may be going through some challenges in his life. He may be going through some hardships at work, but you show that support. You use your tongue wisely, and you comfort the husband in such a way that it basically comforts him, and he feels that he is, he is at home. rather than, blaming one another, and rather than, running your tongue and running your mouth like, there's no limit, this obviously leads to problems in marriages. But this Khadija radiallahu anha tells us what needs to be done. And Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam immediately tells us, Zammiluni, Zammiluni, and he put a blanket on me, or put a sheet on top of me, enlope me with something that, cover me up, because I'm so afraid, I'm so scared. So she does that and comforts him as to what happened. He narrates the whole story as to what he saw and what he experienced. And obviously she says that, look, O Prophet of Allah, you are someone that, who carries the burden of other people. You are Sadiq and you're Ameen. You take care of your relationships. You are someone who does good, only good. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He has revealed something unto you, He's not going to perish you. He's not going to leave you alone. Allah ta'ala will take care of you, right? And this was her way of comforting him. And this is a similar answer that Hajar gave to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam when Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam left her in the middle of a desert, and she asked him once that, why are you leaving us here and my little boy who's just a newborn baby? And he did not answer. The second time she asked the same question, and the third time she says, is this a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And he shook his head and he left. And then she says that Allah ta'ala will not perish us. This is something that we learn, how we have to comfort someone. And if you have to and a woman, folks should also have full firm faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, conviction and yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah will not inshallah perish you. And this is the kind of nasiyat you should give to your husband as well. This is a sign of a great marriage. And then, Muslim rahmatullahi also mentions, some of the hikmas as well, that look, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam also, when he was given that, when he came to the blessed tree and to the blessed mount, that he basically, when he had a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was also he was wondering as to what is going on, what has been happening. And then Allah ta'ala says as a sign that you will go to Fir'aun, and he says that, put your asa or your stick down, and he immediately became a snake. Musa alayhi salam ran away from that snake because he was afraid as to what is going on, right? So this is just a similar nature of Anbiya alayhi salam at first feel, not because they have shak in Allah ta'ala, not because they have shak in the service, but it's just so amazing and a traumatizing experience that, it's just happening too fast kind of thing. That's why these things, they say these things. It's not because they had any shak. So Layazu billah, somebody wants to use that against Nabi, there's no rationale over there. Then she basically takes him to who? Warqa ibn Nawfal, who basically was the Rahib. And she basically asked him before she got married to Prophet ﷺ about the whole incident that happened with Maysara and how he went for a business transaction in Sham and everything, and what Maysara saw and what she explained to him. So she brought him back because he was the cousin of Khadija radiallahu anha, and he knew Tawrat and Injil, and he knew the signs of the last prophet. And the moment she told the whole story, he said immediately, yes, his final task has come. And you know what? He said to Prophet, he looked at Prophet ﷺ and said, yes, this is the Nabi, and he has declared. And he said, look, you will declare this prophethood, your people will become your enemies. You will have enemies all over Quraysh. And he said, these people, they will not leave me alone. I have been with them. They're my uncles, I am the most honorable person in that sense. So how can they leave? He said, no, this is the same thing has happened to the previous Anbiya, and they've always, deserted them. Same thing will happen to you. This is a sign of prophethood. But if I'm alive, I will bring Iman onto you, and I will bring Iman onto your Shariat, and I will help you as much as I can. However, he was not able to bear it, and he passed away. Khadija radiallahu anha, and this was again a wisdom of this woman, Khadija radiallahu anha. She's not bringing, again, she is in any kind of doubt. This was not again that she was in any kind of doubt. Again, one can say, oh, she was in doubt. No, she was not in doubt. She had no shak in it. Whatever he revealed, he said that she comforted him with her words, and she also took him. It's like similarly, when you experience something, right, medically, you go to one doctor, the one doctor gives you an opinion, you say, I don't feel comfortable. You go to another doctor, and he gives the same opinion. You go to the third doctor, he gives you the same opinion. It's not because you have any shak in the first one. It's just the fact that it's just to make your make you believe that, what you experience is just pretty normal, right? It's nothing abnormal, it's pretty normal. So there are many riwayat that it is mentioned that she went to Addas, who was another Rahib, and Bahira Rahib as well, that she actually asked, and they all said the same thing, that yes, this is the same angel that came down to Musa alayhi salam, and he would bring revelations. So it is Jibreel, and he's the same angel that comes down. This is something that Prophet ﷺ was given. So he was basically consoled that, look, don't worry, this is normal, and something's going to happen to you, and this is something that you will experience from time to time, and you will see this Prophet more often. He's going to bring that to you. One time Khadija asked that, do you see this Prophet? Do you see this angel? To Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ, no, I don't. So she said, then definitely this is not shaitan. So she's trying to comfort Prophet ﷺ as much as possible, because one needs to understand that it's just, and again, one point that I missed was the fact that Prophet ﷺ was not because he had a fear for any kind, of getting harmed by this malaika. The thing was that the burden of wahi, it's a great responsibility, not just only from the perspective of revelation, but also ahkamat are going to come. There's going to be many things that are going to happen. There's going to be challenges after challenges. Will I be able to bear it, the burden of this wahi? So that was his fikr and concern as well. That will I be able to fulfill the taqazas of this nabuwat? This was the fikr of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it's a great task. You'll have to tell people, you have to give da'wat to people. As a muballigh, if one wants to go, it's not easy, as those people who go to different towns where there's Muslim population is very less, and they have to go to give da'wat, or people who go to the village areas, they have to give da'wat, and people are extremely johala at times. They'll be ignorant, they'll say things that you'll throw away your bags, they'll throw away everything you got. It's not easy. And then you have to do the work of this is Nabi of the time. He knows what Quraysh are all about. He knows that these people, for smallest thing they would fight and take out their swords. So I don't know what they'll do with me. It's not easy. So we have to look at from a perspective of the mahol as well, that why is he going through what he's going through, right? And that's when you're able to understand, at least a little bit of understanding as to what is, happening. The whole scenario is, how the scenario is built up. Now Khadija anha obviously tried to console him as much as possible, and, try to, give him as much as, comfort as much as possible, so that he is very comfortable when it comes to, revelations moving forward. So now Khadija anha basically did all this to comfort Prophet ﷺ. Now Muslim rahmatullah alayhi, again there's a lot of bahas in this kitab where Muslim rahmatullah alayhi has again done a great detail of work. Like I said, if I was to go through every single one of them, the sessions will be over 2 hours long, just for one particular session that I would do, and that would be insane. So that's something, if somebody wants to take benefit, definitely I recommend everyone to get this kitab, Seerat-e-Mustafa. Purchase this kitab. I know this is available in Urdu. I'm not sure if it's available in English. If it is, if it's a good translation, by all means get it, take benefit. Definitely it's worth of taking benefit, and something that you can read up on it. There's a lot of things, a lot of lessons that come out of this kitab. Musannif has done some bahas about the tarikh of Ba'asat, as to when it was given to him. Some muharrikhin and some muhaddithin say that this was in the same, in terms of the day, it was the same. However, in the month perspective, it was different. Some say it was at Rabiul Awwal month, because obviously he was actually 40 years of age, and he was born in Rabiul Awwal, so therefore he has to be at that age, he has to be at that time. And Muhammad ibn Ishaq and Hafiz Hajar are of the opinion that it was in the Ramadan month of Ramadan. And the reason being, they say in the month of Ramadan was that because itikaf he would usually do in the month of Ramadan. He would seclude himself from the dunya. So it has to be Ramadan. And for him, so now the ishkal comes as to why he was taking provisions to Ghar Hira, to Mount Hira. Why would he be taking provisions? The answer is that because if you're fasting, and if you have to break your fast, you need, provisions for that purpose. So obviously he would go, and he would be gone for like almost 40 days or whatever, right? So now, this is one of the reasons why he would need to take provisions, and back and forth will come and they'll go back again. So that's why, this is one of the reasons. Again, these are all narrations and opinions. It could be both. And again, it's just for the purpose of our understanding. We're not going to do any debates on that regardless. And the other bahas the Musannif has said, mentioned, is that why the age of 40? What is the reason why? The biological thing is that at the age of 40, even from a science perspective, a man is much more, in terms of his physical capability, is fully grown, right? Full capacity he's at. Number two, in terms of wisdom as well, he's of a very moderate nature, meaning that he's not too hyper, He's not too calm and cool. He is not. His whole body, his nature, his mizaj, his tabiyat is such that everything is at its perfect place. So 40 is that age where you can, the work of Allah Ta'ala has chosen for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so that, he's at kamal of everything. Also at the age of 40, if you're married for a longer time, your desires and your lust and everything has been a little calmed down a little bit, so you're able to focus more towards spirituality as well. Right? It's just the fitrat of insan. When you're 25, your brain, you have certain activities you want to do, certain things you want to do. Right? Or if you're younger, let's say you're 18, and then you come to 25, and then you come to 35, or 30, and then 35, your body, you as a physical person, individually, you have different desires. You may be working a certain job at the age of 25, but when you're 35, you see yourself being there. And at the age of 40, you see yourself at somewhere else, and then you probably stay the same way, right? You stay at the same position. For most people, right? That's what it basically, I'm just giving you a dalail. I'm not saying this is what Musannif has mentioned this. I am mentioning this over here. And this is just to understand this perspective of why 40. Because we need to understand from today's day and age as well why he was chosen and 40 ages were given. So we understand from these type of things, a lot of times it makes it easier. And again, Musannif has done quite a bit of job as to why he would take Tosha, whatnot, all these different things he's going through. And Allah Ta'ala, and again, he mentions one point that again, the Sufiya Karam take that from this, that it is okay to do Wisal, to meaning continuous fasting, because we understood from Nabi's life. And this is again it's not, again, we're not discussing Masail here, what is the Sunnat and what is not. No, we're not discussing that. We're just a lesson that Sufiya would do, and they would say it is okay to do Wisal, meaning continuous fasting, because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has done it, so it is proven from there as well. And some of the, is mentioned here that, some murids, basically, they would see that, the Shaykh also had, some sort of a bread under the pillow. So one time, one of the murids basically pulled it out and thought, the Shaykh can fast. He's very strong. He can fast for like the continuous number of days. So the Shaykh got really upset. He said, why would you do something like this? You think that I'm able to fast because of my abilities? Absolutely not. I have only full firm conviction in Allah Ta'ala. Hence, I'm only able to fast because Allah Ta'ala wills. Otherwise, I'm not able to fast continuously. This is the khas sifat of Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. Again, the sunnah life is, we know from the famous narrations, the 3 Sahabis came and they made three different vows of saying that I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do this. When they asked Aisha radiallahu anha how Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in terms of, and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no, this is not my way. I get married, I also fast, and I break my fast, and Allah Ta'ala feeds me. So there's a special provisions for Anbiya. Again, this is just a side point that Musannif has mentioned over here. And hence, Musannif has done a great details of how Khadija radiallahu anha, why she went to different places, what's happened, why this narration, how much. So this is what we're going to discuss today in terms of the first revelation that has come. And Allah Ta'ala also mentioned to him, Inna sunilki alayka qawlan thaqila, that an qareeb, in the near future, we will reveal to you a kalam, which is going to be very, very heavy of nature. Meaning, it's mentioned in Surah Mudassir, right? And obviously, once we move forward, it's going to build up to the fact where how he's going to get people to believe in him and, declare prophethood and everything. So today we're going to end with this. Inshallah, in the next session, we'll discuss more in details of the Nubuwwat as we move forward. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of what has been said. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us utmost love for Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and practice upon the examples of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the examples of Azwaj Mutahharat, Ummatul Mu'minin, for our women folk, and Sahaba radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive any shortcomings that I uttered during this session and any previous sessions. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.